On this slide, I'm going to show you how to solve an equation, quadratic equation, by completing the square. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to write the equation. Then we are going to move the constant to the other side of the equal sign. So we have 9x squared minus 9x equals -2. The following step is to divide by the lead coefficient, which is 9. So we'll have x squared minus x plus, I left a blank space, equals -29 plus, I have to add that same blank number over here. So in the following step, I'm going to use my box right here, which we previously used to multiply binomials by. Currently, what we are going to do is have the numbers inside, the areas inside, and we'll need to try to figure out the side length of the box. So we are going to start filling in the first box, or x to the second power. And if I have x to the second inside, my side lengths will be x and x. This x to the second came from the first term right here. Then since I'm trying to make a perfect square, these two boxes will have to have equal values. So I need to fill in the -x and split it into two equal halves into these two boxes. So if I split them into two equal halves, I will get -1/2 x right here and -1/2 x over here. So now I can fill out the side length of the second box, which is -1/2 and -1/2. And the blank areas, what I'm trying to find right here, will come from the box right here, which is the number that completes the square. So if I have -1/2 times -1/2, that will give me 1/4. And as you can see, those are the numbers I had filled in over here. So now that I have that filled in, I can rewrite this left-hand side as a perfect square binomial. I can say x minus 1/2 squared, which comes from x minus 1/2 and x minus 1/2 right here. And if I combine these two numbers with the common denominator, using the common denominators, I will get 1/36. So the next step would be for me to be able to take the square root. So I will just have x minus 1/2 will equal to plus or minus 1/6. And for the following step, I need to isolate x. Therefore, I need to add 1/2 to both sides. So I'm going to go to here. And if I add 1/2 to both sides, I'm going to end up having 1/2 plus or minus 1/6. The first solution is 1/2 plus 1/6, which gives me x equals 2/3. And the second solution is x equals 1/2 minus 1/6, which gives me a solution of 1/3, x equals 1/3. On this slide, we are going to figure out what numbers do we have to place on the blanks right here in order to make a perfect square binomial. So on the first one, I'm going to show you again with the box that if I write x squared over here, I will have a side length of x and x. And if I split my 4x into two equal halves, I will have 2x and 2x. So that will give me a side length of 2 and 2. And so in my last box, I am going to fill in 4. So the blank will be 4. And as a perfect square binomial, this is x plus 2 to the second power, which comes from x plus 2 times x plus 2. So on the next problem, I am going to figure out again what to fill in the blank for. So basically, I'm going to take the half of the coefficient of x and square it. So I'm going to get half of 12 is 6, and 6 squared is 36, which then would give me a binomial of x plus 6 to the second power. If you prefer, you can still use the box for all of these problems. On question number 3, I am going to take the half of 3x, which is 1.5x, or I can write it as a fraction 3 over 2x into the two boxes. So 3 over 2 squared will give me 9 over 4. So my binomial will be x plus 3 over 2 squared. Again, you can fill out your box if you would prefer it that way. On this last problem, we have 13x in the middle term. So the half of 13x is 13 over 2x. So if I square 13 over 2, I get 169 over 4. And as a binomial, I could write x plus 13 over 2 squared. So now we are getting ready to use this information to solve equations by completing the square. So the first thing I will do is move my constant term to the other side. And then I'm going to figure out what my blank values will be, which is half of 10 squared. So it's going to be 5 squared, which is 25. And then I have to add that to the other side also. So I can say x plus 5 as a perfect square binomial squared will equal to negative 23 plus 25 is 2. So then I take the square root of both sides and get x plus 5 equals plus or minus root 2. Subtract 5 and get x equals negative 5 plus or minus root 2 as the answer. On question number 6, again I move my number to the other side first. So x squared plus x plus that blank will give me 1. Then the half of x is 1/2 x. So if I square that, I'm going to add 1/4 to both sides. So as a perfect square binomial, x plus 1/2 to the second will equal to 5 over 4. And if I take the square root of both sides, I get x plus 1/2 equals plus or minus root 5 over 2. Subtract 1/2 and get x equals negative 1/2 plus or minus root 5 over 2. I'm going to do the last two examples on the next video.